Hi, my name is Justin Carruthers and I'm the lead instructor here at Tulsa Welding School. Today we're going to be discussing about our walk-in cooler, and I'm going to explain some of the fundamental components as far as how it works and just kind of give you just an easy breakdown on some stuff you might come across out in the field. So right here we have our compressor. This is the heart of your system. This is what makes all the magic happen. So as this thing is operating properly, we're going to be pumping our refrigerant into this small line known as the liquid line. It runs through a filter dryer, and its job is to filter the refrigerant to keep it pure, and then also to remove the moisture that may be in the system, hopefully not. And then we have our sight glass here. Our sight glass gives us a visual perspective where we can actually see the refrigerant inside the liquid line as it's passing through the filter. And then as it goes into the walk-in, we'll notice that it's removing heat from inside the space, and then it brings it back out here. Now on the back side of this, we have our condensing coil with our fan. So as this thing is running and doing its job, if you were to stand behind it, you would actually feel the heat being rejected outside of the space. Some key components that go along with it, we have our start capacitor right here. So this is what helps get this motor running and turning. And then we have our high and low pressure switches down here. So if this equipment ever gets to its correct temperature or any kind of variation in charge or pressure, this right here will notify the compressor to either turn on, turn off, or whatever we're needing at the time. Another thing you would see, let's say our walk-in cooler is not cooling properly. There are a few things that are telltale signs that we have issues. The big one is maybe our condenser coil is dirty or needs cleaning. Also, our indoor coils could also be either dirty or frozen, or we could just simply have too much product stacked in there. So those are all things you need to take into consideration when servicing your equipment. And then one final thing you could do to really verify would be to hook up your gauges. Again, this is a very crucial tool used in the HVAC and refrigeration industry. So I keep mine close by all the time. You never know when you're going to need it. I'd like to show you all a quick way to how to service this thing if you ever come across one that is in need of some servicing. So I generally try to hook my gauges up where it's fairly convenient for me to get to. That way I can monitor this system quickly and effectively. So right now I'm hooking up my suction line. So this is the low side pressure. This is the side that's pulling our refrigerant back from the indoor coil. And then now I'm going to be hooking up my high side gauges. And this will give me the reading of our refrigerant going into the coil, into the indoor coil as a liquid. Because that's the big thing we do in the HVAC and refrigeration industry is we're sending liquid in, and then when we're pulling it back as a vapor. And at the same time, also pulling the heat from inside the box, inside the space, out here so we can reject it to a place we don't necessarily care where it goes. So right now, if we look at our pressures, we will see that we are setting at a good static pressure. So the pressure and temperature that's on this gauge is equal to the pressure and the temperature of the room. I just told you about your static pressure and how it correlates with the temperature of the space in which you're in. Now let's figure out how we actually read this gauge. So if you notice on these outer rings, this is your PSI or pounds per square inch of the refrigerant inside the copper lines. And what we're doing is we're taking that pressure and converting it to a temperature. Now if you notice there's some different color inner rings, those are different types of refrigerant. So based off whatever refrigerant we're dealing with is the temperature scale you are going to want to go off of. They vary. The most important one I can tell you on is on the blue side or the suction line. We want to always keep that above freezing, because if it is below freezing, our lines are going to freeze up, and then our indoor equipment is not going to cool properly if we're below freezing on our suction line. Our high side temperature, the red gauge, it may vary depending on the load or the conditions in which the equipment is in. And these are a few things you just need to know when working with a walk-in cooler.